So you represented Mitch McConnell in the Citizens United case. So that means that you were on the side of Citizens United, and that's obviously a very controversial case. I'm sure that there's some difference of opinion in this room, but I'm guessing if I polled, most people would think that the Citizens United decision was a bad one. But the Citizens United was part of a progression of cases going back to Buckley against Vallejo, a 1976 Berger Court per curiam opinion, which was a pretty garden variety case decision. You want to talk a little bit about the cases and the statutes that led up to Citizens United?
No. Yeah, sure. I will say that Citizens United has helped to bring the country together. There is good polling data, absolutely consistent polling data, that about 80% of the public that are Republicans and 80% of the public that are Democrats think it's a terrible decision. It's one of the few areas in which, on a wholly bipartisan basis, the country has come together. And I was on the other side. Let me say first why, and then I'll do a little bit of the history of it. For me, the idea that when a conservative political group puts together a documentary denouncing Hillary Clinton when she looked like the leading Democratic candidate for the nomination in 2008, of course, she didn't get the nomination then, but she was the leading Democratic candidate. Here's a documentary from beginning to end, the topic of which is why she should not be president. It was, in my view, a hit job. But political speech about who should be president, no less. And because part of the funding for the organization comes from a corporation, and the organization is itself in corporate form, as is the ACLU and the NRA and all the entities that deal with public issues. It would be a crime under this statute for that film to be shown on television, cable, or satellite within 60 days of the election or 30 days of any primary. For me, that's like I was drafting a hypothetical for a law school class designed to put the First Amendment side in the most favorable light. Political speech, who should be president, an hour-long broadcast, debate of a public nature. My reaction from the start of that case, which is why I became involved, and on a pro bono basis, no less, was that had to be protected. Now, that said, the legal side goes back a few years, as you say, to the 1970s. And it goes back to a time when there was much less money in politics, in which Gene McCarthy, Senator McCarthy, could become involved politically and eventually beat, or just about beat, President Johnson in the New Hampshire primary in 1968, having raised $30,000 from three wealthy $10,000 each contributors. That's what led him, that's what allowed him to participate. And that's what got him involved in this case. Also, on this case called Buckley versus Vallejo, Jim Buckley was a Conservative Party candidate in New York State, who later became a senator, a brother of William F. Buckley. And the issue in the case was basically the constitutionality of very strict limits on contributions and expenditures, literally contributions to a candidate and money spent by the individual or corporation maybe, and it went to the Supreme Court. And the ultimate decision of the court was to try to split the baby in a way, to say we could limit contributions, because contributions had the potential to corrupt candidates in their behavior and the like. But expenditures, spending money of your own on an election, had to be free from governmental oversight and governmental decision-making, or to add italics to it, from political oversight by political people in the Congress and the like, to pass such a law. And the court, in an opinion, joined as to this issue just about everyone, including people like Justice Brennan and very liberal members of the court, wrote a very strong First Amendment decision saying this is not a role we're prepared to give the government. This is not consistent with the First Amendment. And the court said, if you're telling us that what you want to do is to prevent certain speech of some people who have too much power to equalize the level of speech of everyone, that, they said, is alien to the First Amendment. We don't cut back on speech in order to wind up with less speech in toto.